Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about how you can transform your cardboard from just kind of boring every day into something a lot more exciting. So we're going to start with taking your sketchbook and basically making 6 boxes inside of it. And then you can write peel, slice, fringe, score and bend, and then choice 1 and choice 2 down at the bottom. So there's 4 I want you to try, and then there's 2 others that you get to choose what you create. Just like before, we need to have our cutting mat out. This is what we're gonna cut on top of. And this time you're actually gonna use corrugated cardboard. So you want the cardboard that has the 2 pieces of the thin cardboard paper and then this zigzag in between. That's the corrugation, and it's a little harder and it gives you a chance to get some different textures. So that is what you'd need. In addition, you'd need your X-Acto knife. Remember, if it feels like the blade is a little bit loose, you can just turn this piece of it and that tightens it up in there. And if your blade looks damaged at all, you can carefully carry it over to us and we can replace the blade for you. All right, so before I show you how to do these ones, I just want to show you some other options. We've got this visual that you can take a look at just to see where you can go. So one of the first ones here, stacking. This just means you're taking shapes and stacking them on top of each other. Sometimes you can do spacers in between. I really like to do this if I'm making curves. So if I were trying to make something like a sphere, I could take circles that are different sizes, stack them on top, and then I would get that rounded look. Peeling, this is one that I'm gonna show you, taking all of the first layer of the cardboard off. Tearing, so tearing would just be ripping up pieces and then kind of using them however you need, either crumpling them together like you see here, or you can stack them in different ways, but it's a little more organic. This one, score and bend, this is when you're gonna practice. So starting with taking your cardboard, cutting through a little bit, I'll show you how to score, and then you take it and you can create a circle by putting it together with those scoring elements going vertically, or like what you see here, creating basically like a half of a tube or a tunnel. Slicing is another one you're gonna try, basically drawing a pattern and then cutting away in some areas. Weaving is an additional one you can try. So this would be kind of taking your strips, like cutting your cardboard into strips and then going over under to create this pattern. Or here is a variation with hole punching and then thin cardboard so you can get some different texture. And then we're also gonna try fringe. Notice how you can make layers of it. So that's kind of interesting if you stack those. You can also do it with one piece of cardboard or wrap it around a tool to kind of curve it. So those are some transformations, just to show you a few others. These are things that we've done in sculpture as a class, but you can use cardboard that has different textures already built in, and the way you choose to put them together could resemble something like bricks, something that's got more formulaic elements. Notice these thin elements too. That's something that kind of creates a different texture. Here's an alternative with scoring and an alternative with crumpling, just creating different patterns based on the way that you make your cuts. And then this one's incorporating some glue too to kind of soften it and make it more curvy. So lots and lots of different ways. You can even invent your own with how you create different textures and transform your cardboard. All right, let's get started. So if we go first with peeling and slicing, they are very similar. I've already started peeling this side, and for this one I started slicing here. So when it comes to peeling, you're just taking that first layer of your cardboard off. Typically you can get this started just by using your nails and pulling the cardboard back. Sometimes you might want to leave some of the top layer shining through, but a lot of times you want it to be crisp and clean. So another trick to kind of get that off is either use your pencil or your X-Acto knife to kind of rip in one of the valleys, and that usually helps you to clear off that surface a little bit more. It's a little time consuming, but in the end you get a very different texture, and when you put it beside something like normal cardboard, it makes it very interesting. So take and create one shape and take all of the cardboard first layer off for peel. For slice, I want you to draw something in some part of it. Could be stripes. In my case, I did this S. And the way that you achieve it, you go back to your cutting mat, because we're going to use our X-Acto knife. And I'm just going to follow the line that I created with my X-Acto knife. But what I'm being very careful to do is not cut through both layers of the cardboard. I'm trying to only cut through that top layer. Okay, and when I get to the end here, I'm gonna start with just kind of picking it up, and then I can slowly pick off that additional cardboard. And then I'm getting that contrast of the smooth area compared to the textured area with all of those zigzags in it. Some cardboard, this works better than others. It kind of depends how much glue they use to attach the two things together. But you can see my shape is coming together nicely, and it shows a separation or a change. So that would be slicing. Let's talk about fringe. All right, so I already did one example here. This is kind of shorter fringe, and the way I did it was just cutting a lot of vertical lines here. I could go and do much longer lines, and depending on how thick I want my fringe to be, I could spread them out more or less. So I'm gonna do a couple that are a little bit close together, maybe a little less consistent on this side, and then I've got some that are more consistent on this side. So I can go and start ripping it apart. I can even like cut more if I want to. I can have some go some ways, some go the other ways. But for my thinner stuff, the more I kind of distort it, the more interesting my fringe is gonna be. And you can also do things like taking a pencil and wrapping it around, like I said, to kind of create this curly form. So if I do that with a couple of them, you'll see it creates this kind of curly pattern. And in this case, now I'm doing it on both sides. That can be interesting, or like the other example showed, you can stack it. So that would be fringe. Our last one, scoring and bending. So scoring is all about, once again, going through the first level of your cardboard, not all the way. So I'm just scoring or cutting through that first top level, and you can use a ruler if you want them to be really straight. But by cutting through that first layer, it's creating a much easier piece that I can curve. Now, if I like the look, like let's say I want it to be a tree or a log, I can keep these out, but I can also use it to curve in the other direction, and it helps also in this way. So I could do a full tube, or in this case, I'm just doing something that would be a little bit elevated, and then I could glue it to a piece of cardboard. Okay, the last two, your choices. You can look at our examples or try something new.